So scope of the show is a little bit different. It's called the Friday Stand-Up Meeting with Seth Estrada, and it's on behalf of our cryptocurrency. The subreddit reached out to me and we're like, hey, it's a call for content, and we're starting a new YouTube channel. So please, bless us with some content, because we don't do video and we don't do podcasts and we don't do Discord, live chats, audio chats or whatever. We're really great at curating the content on, mostly great at curating the content on Reddit. And so they built up this audience of like 700,000 subscribers over there. And they're like, we want to create, multi-channel media.
So, you're totally the man for the job, though. That's awesome.
So this show is, I know it's a misnomer, and I know it's not going to be a perfect fit for every single project. And I know that the questions, like the typical lean methodology questions and the agile development questions, aren't going to be a perfect fit. But I think that public facing, it's the kind of PR that everybody kind of wants. They want to believe that all the projects are really decisive and that we're making these bold moves every week.
Yeah.
Or that we're having stand-up meetings every single day and we're talking about like, what'd you get done? What are you going to do today? How can I remove your roadblocks? So
weirdly, we actually do.
Right?
So we have a stand-up meeting 3 times a week. And in that, everybody takes the turn to say what they've done in the past couple of days and what's happening in the next couple of days. And that's kind of the only real way that we can tangibly manage the full team progress.
Oh, that's brilliant.
In a centralized fashion.
Well, I'm super happy to hear that. So yeah, that's the basic thrust of the show. And what I'm doing is essentially going back through the guest list from the initial Coin interviews that I've done. And at this point, it's a snapshot from our last conversation till now. What's been accomplished, what's changed, and clearly in the case of ZenCash, quite a bit. So it's going to be great to be able to have that before and after snapshot. But then now talking about the upcoming items on roadmap and on development, the development cycle, what you see as being the next sprint that you can talk about publicly. And then the community ask of how can we remove roadblocks, and how can the casual observer who may not be a part of the official organization step in and contribute and just help get stuff done? Because we all want to see progress and we all want to see the market cap return.
The only way we're going to get there is if everyone pulls together. So love it. Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we kind of informally already begun.
Okay.
I don't really have an official show flow for this new event, but I think if we go the best of intentions, right, for a stand-up meeting is 15 minutes. It never happens.
Right? No, it never ever happens. Right. Let's wing it. Let's just have some fun and wing it. It'll be fine.
Okay. Great. So I guess we'd start with. So first off, welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm truly disappointed that Rob and Rolf are not also with you.
We will make that happen next time for sure.
Okay.
We are, because of the timing of this show, we're kind of all over the place. Everybody's being pulled into different interviews everywhere, but we'll try our best to get everybody together for one. I think it's long overdue.
It doesn't have to be real time like we're doing today. Not real time, but if there's some way to get the team together so that we can start gathering community questions as of today, so that for the next snapshot, we've got those questions collected, and it's now being proctored by a third party. It's not just being handled by the internal PR machine at HoriZEN. So that it's weird, but I mean, you know how PR works. It somehow feels more authentic. And so
Absolutely.
For the cryptocurrency community, I know that they would also be extremely happy to be part of that movement in reaching out to all the projects that are staying relevant, not dying, and helping them, have more runway and not die longer. It's the best you can hope for, is a product that doesn't suck and a team that doesn't die for too long, right? Because everything has entropy, and so you're always fighting against it. Since our last interview, our last chat, quite a bit has happened for the ZenCash team. Give me just a really quick high-level summary of what's happened, and give it to us straight. What's changed?
Sure.
When I go to zencash.com, what will I see?
At the moment, when you go to zencash.com, it's going to redirect you to our newer website. So we have a new domain name, we have a new brand, a new identity. So probably the biggest thing that's happened since we last spoke is that ZenCash is no more. We are now called HoriZEN. So HoriZEN is now the name of the full project, although our currency is still Zen, so our ticker symbol is still Zen. And the reason that we've done that is pretty simple. It's that we plain and simply outgrew our old identity. We've grown far beyond just being a simple cryptocurrency, and we're really pushing forward as fast as we possibly can to develop a kind of full, all-encompassing application platform. And the name ZenCash fits really well for a currency, but doesn't fit so well for the vision and the forward-thinking plan. So HoriZEN is the new identity. That's by far the biggest news we have. The other big things that are ongoing, we mentioned last time, our modification to Satoshi Consensus to remove the threat from 51% attacks. So that is now at a point where we're almost ready to push it from our kind of private testing to public testing, which is really big news for us. So kind of fingers crossed that's going to go well. Everything we've simulated so far has went fantastically. So we're really, really confident it's going to go well. We just need to do the kind of final sprint to get that into production.
Phenomenal. And I think for the broader community, especially for the mining community, hearing anything that addresses the threat of 51% attack is just good news. And I don't think we care which camp it comes from. Even the fanboys have to admit, as long as somebody solves this problem, we're all in a better position.
Exactly. And of course, as an open source project, our solution will be completely open source. So the code will be freely available. And we welcome, if it works the way we expect it to work, then we fully welcome everybody in the industry to grab this and make best use of it.
Phenomenal. Okay, let's do a screen share. Let's take a look at this new site. I think I've already got it pulled up. I'm absolutely sure. I've got to make sure I didn't go to zen.cash, because apparently you've got a squatter there.
Okay.
I discovered the fun way. And
nice.
So I'll give you more of the screen right there as well. But all right, this is it.
This is it. Yeah, absolutely.
Usual
so
suspects.
the rebranding and logo process was a lengthy process for sure. We took in a huge amount of the opinions and ideas from the community, and we take in a professional branding agency called Branduitive, based in New York, who were absolutely fantastic and really, really helped us manage this process properly and pull in all the different shareholders and peers to make sure that what we deliver was the right thing for the full project. So it's been really good. And what you see here on the screen is kind of the end result. So we've got the HoriZEN logo, where we're using the logo mark as our O. And I think so far the community's really liking what we've made. So it means lots of different things to lots of different people. For me, because I'm a bit of a sci-fi geek, it kind of does the whole planetary eclipse vibe, which I think is really, really cool.
I'm glad you planted that seed, because now there's going to be an entire faction of your community that runs with that. Yeah, because I know there are going to be some people who are like, "Hey, has the former Obama administration reached out to you for to file a claim yet? A trademark claim?"
That's not the first time I've heard that. But to me, well, for a start, I'm not American, so I've not had that logo in my face for as long as you guys might have. But when I looked at the logo, it's not even that slightly similar. I mean, come on, the two are round, I'll give you that. But beyond the two being round, I don't see much in the way of similarities.
Right.
Personally, I love the new identity. I think it's kick-ass, and I think it much better represents what we're building and where we're going. So I think it's really important that we've done it at this still relatively early stage. Lots of the community have been saying, hey, the name ZenCash it's almost famous at this point. It's really well known in the industry. You're starting to get that kind of outreach, and now you're swapping it over and changing it. We all need to get used to something else. But I think because we're really aiming to bring an application platform to the mass market, I think it's really important we do it nice and early before we do that kind of last push and get the application platform online.
Sure, that makes perfect sense. And it's not like you guys went full Travis Kalanick and did something just absolutely insane with your entire brand. So it doesn't seem insane. It does seem like a bit of an sorry to just use the word, an organic outgrowth of the focus on Zen. It does make sense.
Our marketing team have been calling that a brand expansion. And I think that's a really good way to look at it, because as an organization, we are expanding. Our vision is massively expanded compared to where we were kind of 6 to 12 months ago when it was first started. And we're holding on to our roots. So we're not ashamed of where we've come from. Zen is really, really important to us. Zen is the first app we created, essentially. So Zen remains the currency, remains an integral part of what we're all about and where we're going to be going in future. But HoriZEN is just an expansion of that vision.
Okay, phenomenal. And I see that the primary focus on the front page is still buy Zen or get a wallet. These are 2 calls to action. And in terms of any other usability or any other functions, any other applications, they're clearly just from this initial exposure to the website, they're clearly placed somewhere else.
Yeah, so it's really hard to do everything all at once. So we're trying our best to sort of do things in a priority order. With the rebranding, it's insane how many different places need a new copy of a logo and need the full understanding of what we're doing and why we're doing it, and need to be brought on board in advance to make the switch actually happen. So the amount of work that's went into what you see here on the website is unbelievable. So the website, basically, what you're seeing at the moment is very similar to our previous website. We've removed the word Zen and we've replaced it with HoriZEN, and we've started to now tweak the content. So the content in our HoriZEN.global at the moment is still very similar to ZenCash.com. Over the next kind of week to 2 weeks, you'll start to see that switch over, and you'll start to see the language and the real focus of the website change and bring products to the front and bring the kind of roadmap much more into the front page.
Very cool. And if I had to guess, I would notice also that your front end team is focused on figuring out how much of your traffic is coming from the previous domain versus people that are going directly to HoriZEN.global. So conversion at this point, I'm sure, is near 100% from ZenCash.com. Is that about right?
Yeah, it pretty much is. Yeah. I mean, I'm not actively monitoring the stats, but our whole marketing team for sure are all over it. It's really important that they understand, because it's a phase, right? I mean, we've changed name, but at the moment, if you go onto Binance or you go onto Bittrex or most of our exchanges, you'll still see ZenCash, and you'll probably still see the old logo in most occasions, because there's, what are we at now? We're at 26 different exchange partners, last time I checked, and every single one of them needs a different amount of time to update the data. So some of them will take a couple of days, some of them might take a week. So it's a phase, and we really want to keep tabs on that kind of transition and make sure it's managed properly and make sure we understand where people are being directed when they type in ZenCash to Google or when they type in Zen or HoriZEN or any one of these things. We want to try and make sure that we direct them in the right place and we get them to the right information.
Awesome. Yeah. So I guess to CoinMarketCap's credit, they were very quick to make the change. I noticed when I checked CoinMarketCap just yesterday that they had already changed it to HoriZEN. So yeah, I think possibly CoinGecko has as well. I don't know who else, but I didn't. Obviously, I don't have the analytics that you do. I didn't troll the entire internet wondering like, all right, who's got HoriZEN? But this is brilliant. Okay, so the brand change is big, and it seems like you're attempting, if I had to hazard a guess, you're attempting to follow the moral imperative that we all have in crypto of educating grandma and creating a brand that grandma will find approachable. But maybe there's something more to it. And yeah, I don't know. As far as other developments that correspond to the rebrand, was there anything in terms of functionality or anything in terms of wallet usability or anything in terms of any of the products that you create that have adapted with the brand to be more approachable, to reflect that new direction of the brand or the brand expansion, as you called it?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's the primary drive for us at the moment. I think we said last time we spoke that from our perspective, the kind of big barriers for entry for people coming into crypto that aren't in the industry already or aren't from an IT background, don't have that kind of tech skill, are usability. So everything's way too complex. Accessibility. So it's super hard to actually buy crypto in most cases, particularly if you don't already have. So it's really easy to swap from crypto to crypto, but the on and off bridges provided by some of the fiat exchanges are not simple, particularly if you're new to the industry. So yeah, usability and accessibility, two giant hurdles that we need to overcome. At the moment, our user experience division are working really hard on the very final iterations and tweaks to our new flagship wallet. Now, our aim was to get the flagship wallet out at the same time as the rebrand. That would have been fantastic, but we're not 100% happy with it. And we want to make sure that when we make it live and we release it on the world, it's something that we're really proud of. So we're battle testing it. We're still tweaking UI. Our user experience team are making sure that it is super slick and usable. And once that's ready, that'll be getting pushed straight out. Bigger picture stuff. So that's a small step towards usability, making our wallet easier to use. But what we're really doing is trying to launch a platform. And to get to that point, I guess the big things that have happened in recent times is the launch of our supernode network. So our supernodes are kind of a second tier of node. You need a larger stake in your wallet and a transparent address. You need a better spec'd server, either physical or virtual private server. And what that really allows us to do is it enables us to start building on top of a kind of much stronger foundational infrastructure. So we have our secure nodes. At the moment, we have around about 17,500 or 18,000 secure nodes, which is pretty crazy. And we also have, last time I checked, about 1,500 to 2,000 super nodes, which is a ridiculously large number. It's growing a lot faster than we expected, but it's fantastic.
Yeah, I've
So
heard that. I've heard the
supernodes,
grapevine that the supernodes are actually, at least from a technological standpoint, they appear to be easier to set up from the VPS side. I don't know. I mean, I haven't gone through the process myself, but I've heard from those who have gone through that they find the supernodes more approachable in
I
terms of
guess
setup.
the primary reason for that, I guess, is that so we kept the stake requirements for secure nodes really low because we wanted to make it as accessible for as many different people all around the world as physically possible. We didn't want to have this artificially high financial barrier to entry just for the sake of soaking up some coin supply. That's not what the system's all about at all. So we wanted to make sure it was inclusive. Because of that, we picked 42. So 42 Zen for secure nodes. So it's still a non-trivial amount of money. I mean, we understand that. It's still the guts of $1,000. However, it's much more approachable than most. What we find, though, is that a lot of people that are invested in the Zen ecosystem aren't just setting up 1 or 2 secure nodes. They may do 10 or 12 or 15 secure nodes. And to manage 10, 12, 15, or even more secure nodes is no easy task. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not a staking, proof of stake type of deal here. We're paying people to operate infrastructure on our behalf. So they need to be monitored. They need to be up 92% of the time. They need to maintain the full chain. They need to maintain adequate peers. And they need to be constantly updated to make sure they're on level with everyone else. So managing 10, 15 nodes, no easy task. However, you could take the same amount of stake and create one single super node, which is obviously going to be a lot easier. So I guess from that point of view, for sure, it is easier to run with 1 or 2 super nodes than it is a whole bunch of secures.
Definitely, all things being equal, certainly collateral and investment. Brilliant. So as far as what's happened since our last chat, it sounds like the in terms of there being sort of a stand-up meeting quality to our reunion here, it sounds like the biggest piece of biggest work product that's been produced has been this brand expansion, and then the launch of the secure nodes and super nodes, because I believe that they were still roadmap. They weren't fully released when we last spoke.
Yeah, supernodes. I think we launched supernodes shortly after last time we spoke. So from a tech point of view, the launch of supernodes is the biggest achievement we've made since we last spoke. From an overall project point of view, probably the biggest thing that's happened is the rebranding, because it is pretty significant. But we're tediously close to launching a few other bits and pieces. So the biggest one being our flagship wallet, like I mentioned before. And then just behind that, we're exploring our sidechain solutions. So the supernodes are what enable us to start essentially offering sidechaining. And sidechaining is what allows us to start building applications on top of the network, but doing it in a way that's scalable, doing it in a way that's not going to drag down the speed of the main chain. So sidechaining solution is work in progress. The guys are absolutely flat out on reviewing a variety of different sidechaining solutions to make sure we pick the right one that's going to work best with our platform, best for our needs. And then once we have sidechaining solution in place, the next kind of step is to have the programming language and contracting ability to really allow people to start building applications on top of our network.
Got it.
So
okay.
the first, sorry.
Yeah, no, just to make sure that I understand, it sounds like the very next hurdle that's been identified then is ensuring that you have adequate support within the Supernode network to build these side chains and then the resulting applications. Is that kind of what we should expect as a community to see released next in terms of a work product?
That's probably going to, yes and no. I mean, the difficult thing with doing things like this is that we have a pretty big team now. We have 55 people and it's a divide and conquer. So there are a whole bunch of different projects working simultaneously. So we have our R&D partnership with IOHK. Those guys are off focusing on the treasury governance system. So that's what's going to enable the community to participate and actively vote in where the 10% that the treasury currently takes is allocated and where we really focus as an organization and where we move. So that's probably going to be the next really big thing to hit production after the 51% attack protection.
So answering when vote is the next big thing.
When vote. When vote is the next one, and then when 51% attack, and then probably after that it's going to be sidechaining programming language, and then there'll be a period where it's the Zen Blockchain Foundation creating apps and really making sure that the network is robust. making sure that the developer tools we put together, so all the SDK and things like that, are all succinct. There's guides and all the documentation's in place. And then once we're completely happy with that, it's a case of bundling it all up, launching it, and allowing anybody anywhere in the world to start building applications on top of HoriZEN.
Awesome. Okay, so this is great. This gives us a bit more of the near term roadmap. I guess the big question is then looking at the nearest term roadmap and those items that you mentioned before. So when vote and then 51% attack. I think the big question in any stand-up meeting would be, as a community at least, because that's our perspective and that's our role in participating with HoriZEN. What can we do to help remove hurdles? There may not be much that we can do as individual contributors, but what can we do to help remove hurdles?
So the big thing that we're going to need in the not too distant future is people willing to help us test. So the Treasury governance system, for example, is a prime thing that is going to need to be battle tested before it really goes into production, before we start moving the decision-making from the current leadership team into that organization, that decentralized autonomous organization. So testing of that for sure would be really handy. We're going to be reaching out to the community in due course once it's actually live and ready to go. But the biggest way to help HoriZEN as a project at the moment is to jump into our community, help each other out. There's lots of people that are brand new to this industry that don't understand how to set up a wallet, don't understand how to practice safe crypto, essentially, how to set up a secure node, how to set up a super node.
Sounds so dirty when you put it that way, but it's also not inappropriate.
Yeah. So I said it like that because we're actually working on a guide. Obviously, we had quite a big integration relatively recently with a group of adult websites. And that's a controversial thing for us to have done. And we fully understand it was controversial, but it was fully intended to give us access to a very large mainstream market. Excuse me. At the moment, we have access to the crypto markets. We're very much in the kind of era of the geeks. So all of us together are happily plugging away on bits and pieces and happily trading crypto and using it to buy stuff and really making the most of it. But to get to the next stage, we need to start pushing utility to the masses. That's the only real way we're going to make it happen. So to get us some exposure to mass market, we ended up doing this deal. So it's live. But without an adequate guide, we can't expect an average Joe to download a Zen wallet, buy some Zen, and then use the Zen rather than their credit card. So we really need to kind of break down the technical barriers to entry and provide a really decent guide. So there's loads of silly puns that have been come up with through that process. And sure. A big section of it will be practicing safe crypto, how to make sure that you can maintain your privacy, because ultimately the reason that we chose to go down this route is that we can provide people with more privacy than they would have if they paid for these services with their credit card.
Sure. That makes sense. It begs the question also, because there's been a move in a couple of different camps of the entire crypto sphere, right? On the one hand, there are the very privacy-oriented projects like HoriZEN and others that are focusing on creating infrastructure independent of institutional players. And on the other side, there are projects that are maybe a little more visible and maybe don't have the same focus on privacy. Maybe have a distributed public ledger that is far easier to crawl and that's been largely mapped by the institutional players that are saying, we want institutional money, we want institutional players, we want institutional adoption, and we believe that's our path forward to greater access. Where is HoriZEN in terms of resolving those two imperatives? Because on the one hand, adoption can absolutely be increased in a private fashion, and then on the other hand, I felt the sting personally from running an e-commerce outlet where the moment they saw that I had anything to do with crypto, it was like, nope, no PayPal for you. Oop, no credit card processing for you. Oh, yeah, we basically, if we can, we're going to try to delist you from Google.
Yeah. It's early days. I mean, this industry is still super, super new. So fear is a powerful thing. And at the moment, a lot of the more traditional financial institutions are still scared. They're not scared of what we may do. They're scared of the unknown. It's as simple as that. They don't understand it. They can't comprehend it. They have no idea what it's about. And because of that, their first gut reaction is just to shut out. So there's, just recently on news.bitcoin.com, there was an article about a couple of people in the UK that have had bank accounts closed. So that's just another example where there's a large financial institution just exercising the muscle they have in a gut reaction of don't understand, don't want to understand, let's just close it down. And it's disappointing, but ultimately there are plenty of financial organizations in the world that do want to understand and are forward thinking, embrace technological change and advancements. And certainly from our perspective, there's absolutely no harm in engaging with these people, trying our best to really educate about the benefits of privacy. It's weird that privacy is treated as this dirty word, that we shouldn't have privacy, when in reality, privacy is a fundamental human right. And it's absolutely essential to our daily lives. I mean, there are loads of things that we do not publicly talk about. The balance of your bank account or where your specific geolocation is. I mean, there's lots of things that privacy is really, really important for your own safety or for the safety of your funds or for the continuation of your business. So it's really strange to have the kind of the standard anti-privacy coin argument of it's all for bad things or there's nefarious goings on because we can't see it ourselves. It just, for me personally, doesn't make sense. And what we really need to do as an industry is pull together and then educate about why we are offering these services and the fact that the services are optional. So by default, HoriZEN is transparent. And if somebody wants to shield a balance for any reason, they should have the right to do that. That should be their choice.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I can't disagree with that. I am in support of the larger privacy movement within crypto, and well, I hate to use the phrase Satoshi's vision, but I'll say Satoshi's manifesto kind of explicitly lays that out. It's not I think a question of a vision for the technology as much as a very clearly, explicitly stated kind of socio-political stance on privacy. I don't think there's any ambiguity in the white paper there. So totally in support of that. I guess where I think there's been a lot of, I apologize. I think the screen share has outlived its usefulness. Let's just chat face to face because I'm just looking at the same repeating background element there. But as far as there being a path forward to greater adoption, it sounds like with HoriZEN right now, it's working through specific partners that maybe have already navigated the waters of, we publicly were considered distasteful in some way for whatever reason it is. And we've already overcome certain challenges in payment processing. We've already overcome certain challenges in growing adoption. Am I picking up what you're throwing down? Is that about right?
Kind of. So we created that partnership purely from an awareness point of view. We just wanted to get HoriZEN and Zen into the eyes of what is essentially a mass market. So those websites, that group of websites, have literally millions of viewers every single day, millions of paying subscribers. So that was the kind of intention there. How we want to bring Zen to the mass market is a slightly different approach. So we want to break down every single barrier that we see between crypto and the mass market. And we want to do it systematically. So we're going through them one by one. We're trying to create tangible actions and really try and nail them. So the first one we're doing is usability. Everything's too complex. We've talked already about the flagship wallet. That's going to be step one. Beyond that, we want to really start creating some useful documentation and some kind of online content. So some real educational content that really helps people understand just generally, I mean, not just about Zen, but what is cryptocurrency? Why should I use it? What benefits does it bring to me as a person? So that's the kind of usability piece. My main job at Zen as Director of Business Development is all about creating useful partnerships and making Zen as useful as it possibly can be for everybody in our community. So we had a little Twitter poll just recently, and it was quite a small sample of people. So we estimate our community size to be something like 75,000 people, and we only had, I think I had about 200 replies to the Twitter poll. But that small sample had an overwhelming majority towards the priority for us in business development being things that allow them to spend their Zen. So point of sale plugins and carts and things like that. So we're driving down that route and trying to make it as useful as we possibly can, but also need to make it as accessible as possible. So a big problem for us at the moment, like I mentioned at the start, is the fiat on and off ramps. So between the kind of government-backed, politicalized money, if you like, and then our kind of decentralized, non-politicalized money. So we want to try and make that bridge and that gap as easy as possible. So we just listed with an organization called System Coin, who are based in Turkey. And that now enables you to trade Zen directly with US dollars, with Turkish lira, and with euros. So that's a really nice boost for accessibility.
Okay, that's killer. Again, the problem, again, I mentioned a niche that I'd like to scratch personally as an e-tailer, having a website where I like to be able to take crypto, and I like to be able to off-ramp into fiat to be able to settle with my suppliers. That's tricky because not very few suppliers say like, oh, sweet, you've got 15 million Zen or whatever it is that I've collected. And I think that actually outpaces the current available supply
by about 3 times. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Well, that's fine.
But for kicks and giggles, we do a lot of business, Rowan. You don't know me very well.
This is a serious business.
Yeah.
I got 50 million Zen.
Right. Yeah, interesting. Cool story, bro. But 50 million Zen and trying to get that back into fiat so that I can just settle accounts.
Yeah. I mean, there's no two ways about it. It's a pain. It is a total pain. So you can blame me directly for that pain, for us, for HoriZEN. It's my job to make that significantly easier over the next 6 months. And I'm working my ass off to make that a reality. Okay. So we have currently 2 exchanges that offer fiat pairs. We have Panda.exchange in Latin America, and we have System Coin in Turkey. Both open to, sorry, not both open. Panda.exchange is for Europe only. So it's euros. System Coin is available to everybody. So you can use System Coin in the US to trade between Zen and dollars. That's not an issue at all. And it's the first of many. So we're not just going to stop at 2. We're aiming to have as much fiat to Zen liquidity as we possibly can get. And then we're going to go a little bit further. So we're also looking at things like being able to buy Zen directly over the counter in stores. That's a growing trend in a number of different areas around the world. And it makes it way more accessible. So these shops, for example, have a large volume of daily footfall, and it's daily footfall not from crypto enthusiasts, from normal people. So they're going to start seeing a sign there, and they're going to start going, hey, what's this all about? And it'll hopefully help us drive some sort of adoption that way.
That's true. Yeah, it's got a little HoriZEN ATM. Who knows? There may be somebody who's going in to buy cigarettes, and you've just saved their life because they decided to buy Zen instead of cigarettes. I mean, maybe as a weekly habit, I think we can all agree that buying crypto instead of personally damaging, carcinogenic items, maybe that would be better. I don't know. I don't want to get too touchy feely on you, but what is the exchange currently between Zen and the crypto Petro for Panda.exchange? I kid.
I genuinely couldn't tell you.
Don't touch that one. It's a trap. Yeah.
It's a trap.
It is.
Yeah, for sure. It's a trap.
Yeah, I
interesting trap though. It's got me thinking. I'm not sure.
I've got friends from Venezuela. I've got friends with family in Venezuela and in Colombia. So it's ever present. Thinking about the people of Venezuela and certainly the crypto enthusiasts of Venezuela they're in a particularly weird spot. But
yeah, and as the crypto industry, we have all the tools to really help these guys out. So. We've been kind of face down, ass up on a series of items on our roadmap and haven't really had the real time to dedicate to some outreach there. But it's so important that we do that. And it's definitely something we're going to be focusing on very, very soon. When you see the pictures, I mean, I saw just the other day, I went around Twitter, I'm presuming you've seen it and everyone else watching it's seen it as well. But it was pictures of really basic items. They had like a bag of carrots and a pint of milk and things like that. And they had the quantity of currency required to buy these items stacked up behind it. And it was literally shoeboxes full for really standard everyday essentials like milk and food. So the volatility is completely incomprehensible for people that are lucky enough to be in an economy with a nice stable currency like you guys in America and me here in the UK. Crypto may be volatile to us, but it is extremely stable to the guys over there. So outreach in that area is super important. We have a Latin America regional team headed up by a really good guy called Levis, who is pushing outreach and is going to be making a concerted effort to get his team helping the people out in Venezuela and really trying to do some outreach there. Education, help merchants accept, and help them figure out where crypto can help.
Okay, phenomenal. It sounds like also in terms of an off-ramp, if that is the direction that crypto enthusiasts in Central and South America want to go, it sounds like you've got Panda.exchange that will allow you to convert your Zen easily to euro.
Yes, absolutely correct.
Okay, great. Cool. I think that's one small piece of that puzzle, perhaps.
It's a tiny piece, but I mean, we need to try.
Yeah, awesome. So this has been great. I really feel like this is illuminated quite a bit about where the team, where the project currently is, and what to expect next. So it sounds like in terms of the ask to the community, what I'm hearing you say is get involved by way of education. We all need to educate grandma. That realistically, that is the truth. We all need to educate our own grandma in terms of crypto. Though I would probably phrase it differently to my own grandma, other than grandma, let's practice safe crypto together.
Yeah, fair enough. Maybe leave that one aside.
I can't unthink it now. So, but I didn't want to say
it. Isn't it? It's pretty good.
It is. So it sounds like then the ask on the HoriZEN team's behalf is to jump in, start educating, be involved in the community. Where are the best forums for that today? Telegram, Discord. I know you have an online forum. Clearly, the URL must have changed.
Yeah, so we've got so most of our community actually hang out in Discord. Probably, I don't know, 60% of our community are in there. We also have a Telegram channel, which is pretty active. I think we've got like 6,000 people in there. Lots of people require help in Telegram. You tend to have the split seems to be that the more experienced guys err towards Discord, and some of the newer people are hanging out in Telegram. So Telegram, if you know what you're speaking about and you want to help people, that's an awesome place to go and jump in. We then obviously have our forum. We're in the middle of launching an ambassador program. So if hanging out with a bunch of people and explaining what we're all about to them is something that sounds attractive to you, and you don't mind getting up and speaking or creating meetups or doing outreach like that, doing interviews like this, then the ambassador program is an awesome way to start.
Yeah, I'm an unofficial ambassador of every crypto project.
Absolutely. And we need ambassadors. Every crypto project needs it. We really need to be pushing out as best we can, speaking to as many people as possible and spreading the word. So if you're interested in being a HoriZEN ambassador, then you can jump into the forum. It's forum.horizen.global. There's a pitch deck there. So it's plain and simply just sell us yourself. Tell us why you're the right person to jump out and do this, and which region you want to do it in. And yeah, get cracking. Let's try and make it happen.
Let me quickly pull that up on screen because I think, oh dear, you can tell I spend a lot of time on HiveOS. I'm a bit of a fan. So,
what are you mining just now then? There's a question for you.
Yeah, it always is. It always is. So I think for the purposes of this interview, there's probably only one right answer, but but I can't tell you the answer that you want to hear. So yeah. I
understand why. I completely understand why.
Right. So I bounce between what is most profitable and then I trade. So
cool.
Which is what I encourage most miners to do. When I'm speaking to the mining community, it is a business. You have capital expenditures that you're trying to pay down and break even on. You have operational expenses ongoing that you have to be ahead of loss, but ahead of your monthly costs, right? Or your loss.
For sure, yeah.
So if you aren't maintaining an eye on profitability, like this morning with another notable coin project that is mineable, specifically GPU mineable, there are conversations taking place that can make it difficult for the GPU miner or even for the ASIC miner at the mid scale and below. So, I mean, with only 500 machines or less, it can make it very difficult to continue. And there are a lot of question marks over miners' heads about this next quarter. What will I have to do as a stop loss? Will I have to start sloughing off assets? And I just think that's a terrible position to be in as a business owner. So I've been mining what's profitable, converting and trading, attempting to support projects that I feel strongly about and that I believe have a fighting chance of making real innovative progress. In every other way I can, when it comes to mining, it is absolutely. It's the profit motive. It has to come first. Otherwise, like we talked about before, the best you can hope for is as long a runway as you can possibly manage for yourself, right? As long a life as you can get. So don't die. Don't do anything that will cause premature death. So with mining, you have to look at the profit.
And that makes sense. I do things a little bit differently with my operation here, but we're in a bear market. So for me in Scotland with horrendous electricity rates, my original aim was to containerize the business and move out into renewable electricity, which would have quartered my electricity rates. But with the rates that I'm paying just now, I'm basically just mining what I believe in. I'm mining things that I think have a great future. And I might have maybe doing it at a loss short term, but I'm fine with that. I'm cool with that.
Sure.
kind of been there before. I mean, this isn't the first bear market we've been through, and it isn't the first time that mining becomes unprofitable for a short period of time. But ride the storm, and it paid off last time. So I'm pretty confident we're going to pay off again.
Great. Yeah. That's phenomenal. So I think that's great also to mine and hold for projects that you really do think have a solid roadmap. When I talk to miners about mining and trading, you'll notice I didn't say mining and dumping because that's unceremonious and just plain rude. I don't know why you would dump any crypto that you just mined. If you thought it was worth dumping, then why mine it in the first place?
Exactly. You're just creating sell pressure and artificially restraining price, basically.
Right. So that's what I'm mining. Without being too specific.
I noticed that it was really political. It's like, I'll tell you nothing, but I'll give you a really long answer why I'm telling you nothing.
Well, this is meant to be evergreen content, right? I mean, because again, when you ask me, like with being as tactical as I am right now, I'm not mining strategically. I'll put it that way. I'm not mining for the long-term hold every day. I am mining for the short-term trade into the long-term hold.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So that's, I think the best answer I can give today, while keeping the focus on HoriZEN and what the project is doing for this interview. But so this is the forum. So the forum hasn't changed then from ZenCash just yet.
No. So the forum, we actually had a bit of a survey recently, trying to figure out what the community wanted from the forum. So being really blunt, the forum is a ghetto solution for a proposal system. That's kind of the real reason it exists. So people can come in here, they can log in, they can create a proposal. My name's Rowan and I want to do a meetup in Edinburgh. I need 50 Zen to buy some beer and pizza, and I'm going to put on a presentation and tell everybody what it's about. So it's that kind of idea. At the moment, we're working on a formal proposal system, which will have the ability for the community to come in and vote. So a kind of Reddit-esque upvote, downvote type deal, which will be much, much slicker and enable us to do the process in a much more efficient way. So this is temporary. At the moment, if you do want to participate, this is the best way to do it. Give us a month or so, and there should be something much, much better.
Okay, phenomenal. I was going to ask if there's a dark mode, but I think I know the answer.
I don't know, actually.
Oh, some discovery.
Yeah,
First off, let me log in because I may or may not already be a member. Oh, come on. Thanks, password.
I'm really not a fan of dark modes, I must say.
I spent too much time nocturnal.
Oh, there is.
It automatically. Hey, and do you like my avatar?
Oh, nice. Very cool. I've just noticed our logo there, though. That just doesn't work. We're going to have to swap that out to the white version for dark mode. I wonder if there's a way to detect which mode it's using.
You might not be able to, so you might have to go with the just an in-between neutral value.
Yeah, we'll figure that out.
But
another problem for the design team.
Right. Yeah, they're not busy enough. Hey, guys.
They now hate you.
Yeah, the community too. They're like, yeah, about that.
No, it's a crazy busy time for the design team, and they have done a fantastic job of pushing this rebrand exercise through. There's still so much to do, though. The website's going to be fully refreshed. There's a whole bunch of new content being created, so it's just the start. Kind of a big marathon leading up to a big release, and then really all we're doing is kind of rolling our sleeves up and getting started. So they're going to be crazy busy.
That's great. Well, Rowan, I appreciate the time. I appreciate you going over the most recent developments since we last spoke, because it's been quite a bit of time now. It's been what, 8 weeks or more?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so that's more than your typical sprint, but you've accomplished some things, so that's great. And yeah, the outline of the next roadmap items that should be released, hopefully within the next 8 weeks. Maybe we don't take that long before we do another check-in with the entire team. But it sounds like then we've got some things to look forward to, and the ask is very clear. So pick your poison. Forum, primarily Telegram is the ask, is what I'm hearing, or Discord.
Yeah, absolutely. It depends if you want to be kind of a brand ambassador, if you like, and really do some physical outreach, or if you just want to lay about on your sofa and help some people out from the comfort of your own home. So it depends what you're aiming to do. But yeah, the ask from us is for sure, jump into the community, get involved, and yeah, stay Zen. Oh,
snap. That needs to be onto some t-shirts. Probably restated the ask 3 different ways and talked about where you guys are at. Enough. Surely we have some people that have already tuned out. They're like, first off, it's not live, and You've already told me 3 times. You don't need to tell me 3 times, Seth. Actually, studies indicate that I do. So yeah, never mind me. Just worked as a corporate trainer for Fortune 50 companies. But
we can make the next one more succinct. We'll aim to make it a little bit more.
Yeah. So we'll get to that stand-up format eventually. You guys, surely you'll crack that nut before I do. The 15-minute stand-up. You'll be able to do it. I believe in you guys. You can do this.
Appreciate the time. Really, really appreciate it. Great to speak to you again. And I look forward to coming back on sometime soon.
Let the team know that we say hello and that we'd love to have the 3 of you on next time, if possible. I understand that.
Yeah, I'm sure we can make the moons align. No problem at all.
Awesome. Rowan, thanks again. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. Take care.